Is this a luxury watch or an affordable watch? There's been a lot of praise for this Nomadic Mirai watch and its luxury value at a non-luxury price. Also, a bit of commentary for it being a homage of the Tudor Black Bay. Is there any legitimacy to either of these sentiments? I'll let you know on this episode of Adventures with Tom. Are you looking for a watch that has a luxury design and great specs, but don't want to spend luxury money? If so, then stay tuned while I give you a hands-on review of the Mirai 401 Pro watch from microbrand Nomadic. Yes, this watch looks a lot like the Tudor Black Bay. Some call it a homage or a clone, and some call it a design ripoff. But let's leave any comparison to the Black Bay for later while I review this watch on its own merits. The Nomadic Mirai is what I call a stylish diver, in that it has styling that keeps it from looking too toolish. Compare it to the Boulder Odyssey 45, an extreme-looking tool watch. The Mirai is smaller, has a graceful case shape, and subtle colors. That's not just true for the Crimson Dawn I have here. None of the three other color options have loud tints. There is the black and gold, the dark Atlantic emerald. Even the deep ocean blue uses muted colors. That doesn't mean this is a boring watch. The contrast provided by the gilt applied indices and hands not only makes this a very readable dial, they also provide an essence of sophistication and class. Splashes of more color are provided by the crimson bezel, blue Nomadic name on the dial, and the yellow second hand. This yellow second hand is just one of the attributes that pays tribute to the Belfast shipyards. Yellow being the color of those huge gantry cranes at the Harland and Wolff shipyard. Nomadic is the name of the White Star passenger ferry from the infamous Titanic. Mirai means seafarer, and 401 refers to the fact that the Titanic was the 401st ship built at this shipyard. However, to me, this model is more of a watch that one would wear to an office in a shipyard. Not that I don't like the little nods it provides to the significant role played by Belfast in shipping. For my 7 7/8 inch wrist, the 41mm case width looks fitting. By the way, that 41mm includes a half-millimeter overhang of the bezel on each side. Despite the boxed sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the underside, its 11.5mm thickness and 49mm lug-to-lug allows it to slide nicely under one's shirt cuff. Note that between the 120-click unidirectional ceramic bezel and the crystal, there is a metal ring insert, giving a bit more interest to the watch face. It has a 20mm lug width, which allows you to switch out the bracelet for many strap options, including the optional NATO or rubber straps available from Nomadic. The screw-down case back and screw-down logoed 7mm crown provides 200 meters of water resistance, if you decide to actually take this watch in the water. To me, it's more of a desk diver watch. Inside is the Sellita SW200-1 movement, a movement used by many mid-tier brands, including Sinn in my 104. This Nomadic Mirai on bracelet retails for £398, or about $855 US. By the way, here is a lume shot for those interested. Note the lack of lume on the bezel scale, with lume just on the pip. That's fine for desk divers, but I think a real diver would require the scale to be lume. The case and bracelet are nicely done with a taper down to a familiar fold-over clasp that is milled. Always nice to see. However, many of us would prefer an on-the-fly micro-adjust mechanism rather than the spring bar system, which requires a tool. On its own merits, I find the Mirai to be a fairly nice watch, very comfortable on the wrist, elegant dial, and quality finishing. I would probably like it to be a bit less expensive, say around $600 US. For me, that's mostly based on the fact that the Nomadic is a relatively unknown microbrand. Value proposition of a watch is still something I struggle with, even after 4 years in this hobby. You tell me, do you think the price is justified by the watch? Now that I've given you my hands-on review of the Mirai and stated that I believe this to be an aesthetically appealing watch built with strong quality, let's address its similarity to the Tudor Black Bay, which may dissuade some enthusiasts. Whether intentional as a homage to the Black Bay or to leverage its popularity, the Mirai does resemble the Tudor Black Bay. Of course, there are other watch brands, both major and micro brands, that have watches similar to the Black Bay, and I won't attempt to attribute the design intentions of Nomatic, simply to admit that in my eyes there is an intentional similarity in design. Just 1 millimeter larger than my Black Bay 58 in diameter, length, and thickness, this Crimson Dawn uses a very similar case shape and finish, and has the exact 3 shapes with gilt trim for its applied hour indices. The bracelet is also styled like that on the Black Bay 58, although with different link edge treatment and not as nice of a clasp mechanism. The other thing you'll notice is that Nomatic didn't use the snowflake hour and seconds hands, which might be liked by those who are not fans of that hand style. Overall, despite some differences, I have to say that the Mirai is a definite Black Bay lookalike. Certainly not an identical twin, but close enough in aesthetics that comparisons will be made. Does that detract from the appeal of this watch? Not for me. I find it very attractive, and with the reddish bezel, perhaps a bit more stylish than the Black Bay. Did he actually say that? No matter what you think of the Mirai, you should watch this video on homage watches. I also suggest you watch this video where I consider several luxury watches. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.